True.
And you want respect in both places, as a parent and also as a teacher.
Yeah.
And you're the same person. And different people do it differently. Some people, I've heard of families who go all the way to, when I'm in class, I am Mrs. Gitonga. Out of class, I am mom. But
welcome yet again to another episode, a part 2 of the episode we did last time around homeschooling.
And our son, and I really, even till today, I think that's probably a boy thing. I don't know. You know, oh my word, he tested every boundary. Tested, says, sit down, he stands. Do this work, he doesn't. And I remember one time and you've tried everything. You've tried, okay, I'm going to punish you.
We looked at how Elizabeth, our guest today, started her journey in homeschooling. And here we are again to pick up on that conversation on how her children picked up homeschooling, how they grew up learning, how they transitioned to college, and even to workplace.
And the interesting thing is my husband, and I think like most men, will not follow the routine that I have so carefully laid out of this is what we do, and after maths, we're doing English, and after English, this is break time, then we're going to come back and do this. He is such a free hand and could not be confined to a timetable and did things with the children that I would never have done, but which grew them in ways that they would not have grown in those ways. I would really like to dedicate our podcast today to our late friend, Luceno Kamau Nasiuma, who passed away within the last 2 weeks. Who was a precious homeschooling mother. A homeschool child whose parents have understood that education is life, education is discipleship. It's not just what happens when we sit down with a pen and paper or laptop in this case, but it's beyond that. It includes that, but it is way beyond that.
We are glad that you're here to join us in this conversation. If you have any questions, write them at the comment section and we'll be sure to answer them in the next episode. Welcome and enjoy. If you're yet to subscribe to this channel, this is another wonderful time to invite you to join this community as we continue to learn together. Karibu sana, Elizabeth.
Thank you very much, Isaac.
You're welcome. Thank you for being willing to share your story and to continue to have this conversation.
My pleasure.
Yes. So last time we talked about the role of education, and you shared that it is enlightening the understanding, correcting the temper, forming the manners and habits of the youth. So how did that continue to play out in your children as they grew up and as you continue to teach them at home?
I think when we think of enlightening the understanding, and this is very specific to homeschooling, really the world is your classroom. And you want the children to understand the world and how it works.
True.
This is God's world. Why did he make it this way? What are we to do with what he has provided? How does this world work? And because homeschooling affords a parent a lot of time, you recognize that you don't need a long time to transition from class to go for break, to come back to class. Lesson does not need 30 students all to understand. You just have a small group. So you generally find, without even rushing things, it takes a much shorter time. I dare say it takes half as much time at the minimum to teach a child at home than in a classroom. Now, so that aspect of time is, I think it's the biggest gift, one of the biggest gifts a parent can have, and what I treasured as the biggest gift of homeschooling, because that allowed us to expand the curriculum and not confine ourselves to just what the textbook requirement is, but to be able to go further and to be able to go deeper. And that's a part of enlightening the understanding. If a child was just to look at the geography of the country, it affords time to say, well, Kenya exists in Africa.
Yes.
Africa exists in the world. And the earth as we know it is part of the whole solar system. And, you can expand as much as possible and begin right at the beginning with creation and build up to the point where we are saying, okay, this is Kenya, this is my neighborhood, this is me. Rather than just coming straight into saying the counties in Kenya are 47. What is Kenya? So that's what I mean by, equipping that understanding of the child. And also on that part, the second part of that definition, controlling the temper.
Yes.
And that really has to do with character development. And so that there is no differentiation between character and knowledge.
Yeah.
We are handling both
intertwined
at the same time. And when I think back to our days homeschooling the children, every parent, of course, seeks to correct and shape the character of the child. What homeschooling enabled us to do is to do it much faster and more immediately.
Wow.
Because the misconduct, as it were, which is misconduct, is happening right there.
Yes.
And, you're not hearing about it at the end of the day.
Yes.
And so you're able to nip it in the bud. Or even the good conduct. And you're able to look at those good examples and, commend them. And, stir them up to keep doing this. This is good. So there is what we call immediate feedback, which psychologists will tell you is a very effective way of shaping the character. So for our children, for good and for bad, means mommy is looking.
Yeah.
And we get to know each other very well.
True.
And I will correct you when you go wrong. But also, I will commend you when you do right.
Yeah.
And also you're able to see the example of life, how life ought to be lived. You're looking at your parents, you're looking at the society that is around you. In a way also, as we think of how did that work for our family, it also makes you very vulnerable. Because your children know you very well. Which I know sometimes I've been very uncomfortable about that. Like, can I not have some secrets?
Yeah.
Your child looks at you. There. They're always there, so they have learned you. Just like when you have a close sibling or partner, you just have a look at their face and nimewakosea ama wamejam, or they can just tell. So our children, I found, just can read me like a book, which is a difficult thing for a parent, but that's what it is. And I think it just makes you become a very authentic person, which is really what is a good thing. We ought to be authentic. It's just very difficult because it's easy to put a shield and pretend to be somebody else. But that gets totally, crushed in homeschooling.
Interesting. So I think, and what also picked from the last conversation we had is that the biggest gift that you get with homeschooling is the time you get to spend with the children. And as you've mentioned about, getting your life being an open book to your children, I think that's a fear that some parents might have. So that growing up, there was a power difference between the child and the parent.
Yeah. And
there's a way they say that familiarity breeds contempt. So how does it look like for you? These children are always there with you. You're so familiar with them. How do you demarcate the time for learning, and they're not, they don't develop some kind of contempt towards you, so that you're able to be strict sometimes and say that it's time for class, stop whatever you're doing, let's get to study or do whatever you want to do.
That's a really good question, because sometimes then you think the child is going to tread all over you, and you become like peers,
true.
And you want respect in both places, as a parent and also as a teacher. And you're the same person, and different people do it differently. Some people, I've heard of families who go all the way to, when I'm in class I am Mrs. Gitonga, out of class I am mom. But for us, we just kind of kept it very simple. I'll be a mom, and that's who I am. And even in class, I'm in mom. Of course, I know if we're in a formal school, you'd expect that the child would address me as Mrs. Gitonga. But hey, we are home.
True.
And so the less artificial barriers we had, the better it was. Like we're existing together, we are learning together. And learning is life.
Yeah.
There is no now we are learning and now we are not. Of course, there is the kind of what we'd call formal learning, where we are sitting down, we have some subject matter content that we need to cover. Maybe ordinarily on our Sunday, we may not be discussing Pythagoras' theorem, but we are needing to discuss that in class today. Maybe we'll find application for it on Sunday, maybe not, but this is the content for today. And to answer that question of how did it work out and how do we ensure that children still esteem you as who you are, I find that laying that good foundation, even as a parent does, an ordinary parent, not necessarily homeschooling, does with their child, where the child knows that this is my parent and I need to honor them and to respect them and to listen to them and obey right from childhood.
Yeah.
And that goes even from how do we discipline and train our children.
Yes.
When they do wrong, is there a consequence for that? When they do right, is there recognition of the right thing they have done?
Yes.
But so that they're very aware, whether mom or dad is here or not, there are certain things that are expected of us. And we ought to carry that. So we were very blessed to have attended some parenting classes right from the time we're expecting our children. I mean, let's say now our firstborn, which helped us really understand child raising and the importance of having very clear, well understood boundaries, the importance of having consequences when things are not done as agreed upon, and the importance of also acknowledging when things are done right, the importance of asking for forgiveness when we are wrong. You know, I was wrong in that, and acknowledging I was wrong.
I can imagine how hard it is for a parent to
You're wrong all the time. I mean, there's so many opportunities to misjudge a child. I know there are times I would come in and I think a child is acting up and why aren't you doing this and you haven't done your work. And I go and find, oh, they did their work and they finished, you know, and I've already judged them wrong, or, you know, just because you're coming into a situation and you're concluding everything.
Wow.
And the humility to say, oh,
I'm
sorry, I'm wrong. That's a tough one.
Yes.
And that's something that we have grown in, and, you know, we're still growing in that, just acknowledging that I'm wrong, please forgive me. And hoping that the children will also emulate that and say they're wrong.
They can also...
But we were very careful about laying those boundaries in a very loving and friendly way and helping them understand that this is mom, and when mom says this, it ought to be done. Of course, we had our times when, you know, it's one thing laying the boundaries, it's another... It playing out. I remember our son, man, he really gave me a run for my money. I think when he was about 3-4 years old, dad had a very busy job at that time. He has always worked for himself, but, you know, sometimes you get clients who the work is a lot. And he'd, you know, be coming home late because he's working. And our son, and I really, even till today, I think it's probably a boy thing. I don't know. You know, oh my word, he tested every boundary. You know, says, sit down, he stands. You know, do this work, he doesn't. And I remember one time and you've tried everything. You've tried, okay, I'm going to punish you. Or you won't get to do this. You know, you're not going to go out and play with others. But that didn't seem to be working. And I remember one time calling my husband and saying, you need to come home now. And this was like 3:00 in the afternoon. But just because I'm feeling like, you know, it's too much. I cannot deal with the other children now because this one has taken up all my time, and, you know, that's a very important thing if you'll allow me to move into talking about, you know, and I know...
of homeschooling.
Yes. And one of the things that I found very critical is the role of the father. You know, often when we talk of homeschooling, it's often, not always, I know some fathers who are primary homeschoolers, but it's often the mother. I mean, 95%, even not 98% of the time.
And why is that the case?
I think because you see, the mother is a nurturer, especially when the child is very young. You're the one breastfeeding.
Yeah.
And really that role primarily falls on the mother to provide that nurturing care in a very natural way, because that's how God created our bodies, to even give that nourishment to the child. Of course, as I say that, I know there are situations where a mother is not there, they died, or they're working, or different places, and the father steps in.
Yeah.
But we're just talking about biologically, and even within our innate nature, we are the nurturing caregivers. Yeah. And so even with that from the beginning, it easily transitions to homeschooling.
Yes.
That then when the child is going to be working at home, then the mother is the one who is going to be taking care of that. For some families, the mother is the one who has a very busy job. The father has a more flexible engagement and is able to stay home and take care of the family. And allow me at this point to even mention that I would really like to dedicate our show today, or our podcast today, to our late friend. I know she is your friend too, Luceno Kamau.
Yes, true.
Nasuma, who passed away within the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
Who was a precious homeschooling mother of 4 children, and had just given birth to her 5th child. Would like to dedicate this show to her, and pray that God would give this family comfort. It's just been a few days since we buried her.
Barely days.
Yeah, a week and a half perhaps since she passed away. Just a few days since we buried her. But she was a very committed, passionate mother and homeschool mother.
Yeah.
And set a very good example, not just for her family that she nurtured, but for many other homeschool families that have come after her and alongside her. And I would like to dedicate this to her remembrance.
Oh, that's good.
Knowing that also Kamau will now be that homeschool dad who has to be ever present
for the children.
Raising their 5 children now, and looking at what homeschooling looks like for them in this time.
Yeah.
And that role of the father is very critical, because our son, and I've wondered, when the homeschooling mother is the primary educator and has everything figured out, how does the father figure play in? How does the father come in and support this in very real ways? And I recognize that a lot as we brought up our son. We have 2 girls and a boy, and the boy is right in between. And I realized he's very different. All children need their mother and their father, but he needed his father in a very different kind of way than the girls needed their father. To be a role model, to be the farm hand. Because, I'm calling my husband, come. And daddy steps in there and wow. It's like
everything is calm.
What was the problem? Did you say there was a problem? And he begins looking like I'm the one who was the problem,
Interesting.
But just that he carries with him, again, a very special God-given authority that, try as I may, I'm a mother. I am not a father, and I cannot be a father.
Yes.
And, for those families where you may not have your husband with you, you're a single parent, or the father has passed on, it's important to just find that father figure, whether it's that close uncle or very good friend of the family, who really can be that authority, but also knowing that God also is a father to the fatherless and a mother to the motherless.
Definitely.
But that's so important, because the boys want that role model that they can emulate. And even going back to our nitty-gritties, as the children grew, I would be the one teaching them most of the what they needed to know in terms of the content that we are passing on to them. But I was very careful to allow my husband to also be part of this homeschooling. And the interesting thing is my husband, and I think like most men, will not follow the routine that I have so carefully laid out of this is what we do, and after maths, we're doing English, and after English, this is break time, then we're going to come back and do this. He is such a free hand. And could not be confined to a timetable, and did things with the children that I would never have done, but which grew them in ways that they would not have grown in those ways if it was just left to me. They would have grown in other ways, but only in those ways. Like our daughter, to give an example, she must have been 7. I don't think she was any more than 7 years old. And, daddy often would come home and say, oh, we're going to the bank. I'm like, hey, we're in the middle of our class. And he'll say, yeah, they'll come back. Maybe let me give you 30 minutes to wind up. Because I'm going to do some banking. At those times, we didn't have online banking. So if you need to deposit your check, you're going in and filling in and, depositing. Or if you need to withdraw money, you're going and getting the papers and filling them in, taking to a teller, and you get your money. And so he often, or in the afternoons, because often our formal class would end by lunchtime. In the afternoons, he would, come and take the kids, and they'd go to all sorts of places. And the bank was one of them, that they'd go and do banking. And so this day, our daughter is just barely, I think she was just about 7. And he comes and says, we're going to the bank, and I think it's going to be an ordinary day at the bank. And I came to learn later that he dropped her off. Like, okay, there's the entrance, you go in, here's the checks, go and bank them.
Wow.
And he came home and told me what he did. I said, no, you can't do that. She's 7 years old. She doesn't know how to do banking.
Yes.
He says, no, but she did. I said, how?
She's been learning.
Yeah, she's been learning. We've been going and she's been watching. And so I say, are you sure that check has been properly banked? He says, well, here are the papers, stamped and banked.
Wow.
And so you see, that grew our children in ways. And he did those kind of things often. He often went back with them to his places of work to visit his clients. And his clients were actually very nice and kind. And because he's a computer technician, so that's his line of work. And often at that time, you're servicing machines. And he'll just say, okay, take that machine, you take that machine. And he'll just give them what they're able to do. Just like a mother will tell a child, wash the dishes. And I'll probably give them just enough of what they're able to do. And so he'll tell them, clean the mouse, clean the keyboard, clean the screens. I want them squeaky clean. And so they learned to work very early. I'm not sure, I can't tell you for sure whether he paid them or not, because I know he was paid for the work. I don't know, and I suspect he didn't. But hey, look at that. A lot of learning, because the thing is about work. How does work, how do we work? How do we generate? How am I able to put food on the table? Because I go to work. When I tell you I'm going to work,
what am I going to do?
What does that mean? Often it's a mystery. You ask a child, Baba ako wapi? Ameenda job. But what is this thing called job? And so he really demystified that for them very early. So I think in a nutshell, even as I'm talking about what our day-to-day looked like, I would have most of the mornings with the children. I had a timetable or a kind of a guideline on the things we ought to study. And there are things I felt are very important, and I had a routine for that. Our Bible knowledge, literature, mathematics was a must, English grammar, and lots of reading. So those happened every single day.
This is just for I don't know now how the curriculum looks like. Is it just for primary or now up to secondary?
Now, those are the core units, I would say, from primary. And we did put in Swahili in there. It was difficult, but we did some of it. I would say a lot of the Swahili they've learned now is from engaging with people. I wouldn't say I did a very good job of it, but you see, when you get older, as the children get older, then those things where I feel I'm not doing a very good job of, then I began looking at who can I bring in to be part of our school, as it were, to educate these children in the things I'm not doing a very good job of. I think they're going to do a better job. Now, keeping in mind, I think we discussed this in our last podcast, that education is, we talked of the building of the mind, the formation of character, and really that can be summed up as discipleship. You're discipling the children. You are forming them for adulthood, equipping them for adulthood, equipping them to learn, to love to learn, and to be lifelong learners. So even as we brought in people, we were very careful about whom we're bringing in to work with the children, the kind of teachers that, it's not the teacher who will come and waste the child's time. It's a teacher who is going to esteem learning and engage the children and also grow them to think, not just spoon feeding them. Give them content, let them reason with that content, and let them also tackle difficult questions and difficult situations in that context and find an answer and know how to ask for help when they need help. So, an interactive teacher, but who's also not. One of the challenges that I see sometimes, you may have a teacher who's very kind to the children, what they consider kind, but it really isn't kind when you let the child spend a whole hour and you've not learned much. But they want the children to be their friends.
Their friend and letting them do what they want.
Exactly. So we didn't want that kind of teacher. We want a teacher who really loves knowledge and wants to pass on this knowledge and has a passion for the things they're teaching. And God blessed us with really good teachers. We got some good tutors, and primarily we used the tutors to support the areas where we were not strong. So we had a tutor in the high school years come in for Swahili. I had a tutor come in for chemistry, which is not an area of strength for me. And for biology, which I really enjoyed teaching. But again, my hands were full at that point. So then we got a tutor to support with that. Yeah.
Wow. That leads me to the other question. And I think it's good you've brought it up. It's in regards to the competencies and the resources needed to help this child in holistic learning. So that, like you've mentioned, there's chemistry. I can't imagine there's a parent who is well versed with all those subjects. So bringing in different people to help in teaching that and how you select that. And also when it comes to other things like practical chemistry, like for us when we're in school, we needed to go to the lab and everything, physics and everything. So how do you go about that, ensuring that they get the practical bits of this specific subject?
Yeah. Now that was easy. The practical bit to answer that was really easy when they were younger, because we could do easy home experiments.
Wow.
The kind of experiments we do with things that are in your kitchen or in your house, watching how bicarbonate of soda will fizzle, making paper airplanes and talking about wind and the flow of air and why the blades of planes have to be shaped in a certain way, the lift and the drift. But so that was easy in the lower grades. In the upper grades, as you're thinking of your high school times,
molarity and the rest.
Exactly, there are labs with real chemicals, and I feel that's one area we missed because we did not have access to laboratories at that time, and so we couldn't really get into the deep scientific experiments. Now it's a lot better because we have schools that are willing to partner with homeschoolers and we can use their labs to carry out lab experiments. And some will even say, here's our lab technician. So I can go in with my tutor or I can use a teacher in the school, the lab technician, pay for the use of the space and also the chemicals and reagents that we'll be using and get that done. So for us, we had a microscope and we used that, but I was aware that there's a lot more that they could be doing. And I'm really glad to see as homeschooling is growing and awareness is growing, there's service providers also willing to say, let's partner with you, let's support you, and even having business models of that. And when 5-6 homeschool families come together and are hiring a space, then it's cheaper than myself going to hire a space. Because also what we had earlier is we didn't have such high numbers of homeschoolers. So you'd find that, doing those kind of cooperative arrangements was not impossible, but it wasn't as easy. It's a lot easier now. Yeah. But also what happened then, when our children were in their high school years, and for 2 of our children, they sat the Cambridge exams, the British IGCSE exam, and they offer, even till today, they offer an alternative to practical. Meaning that I will teach my child, or my child will be taught the whole chemistry syllabus, but with the understanding that they're not going to physically carry out this experiment. The experiment is explained to them and they understand what the experiment is about, what the query is and what the result is, and they're able to explain it in theory So what they miss is the practical bit, but they're able to explain it in theory. And the exam caters for those students who do not have access to a lab. And so there is an examination that is given to those students called alternative to practical. And so they won't be in a lab being tested. But there's also those who can then get a testing in a lab setting. So that's what my children, our children took as an exam. They took the alternative to practical paper.
And the exam here you're talking about now, the transition from high school or?
Yes, the transition from high school into university. Yeah.
You can talk a little bit about
that transition, yes. Yeah. So when our children were, all through our high school, we used different curricula. The bias that we had is that we wanted to see a biblical worldview infused into the curriculum, especially when you're talking of history, geography, literature, but even in the sciences. We really wanted this to come from a place of creation. God created the world. And so that is not, what we are learning in the Bible is not different from what we are learning in school. And we can see the universe through the lens of creation. And so I used different resources, a lot of which at that time were coming from the US, which has been homeschooling in terms of modern day homeschooling since the 70s. So they have developed a lot of curricula. And so we're able to take that and use it with our students, but also bring in the Kenyan context and the African context into what we were studying. But our national system will not examine that because that is not made in Kenya, as it were. So the option we had for them as we now came into Form 4 and time for them to exit from high school was, we could do, at that time it was the 844 system, and you could register your child as a private candidate and they would sit that exam.
Or still sit for KCSE?
Still sit for KCSE. The role of the parent at that time would be then to say, have I taught my child all that KCSE demands? So that when they sit for the exam, they're not disadvantaged. And so our guidance at that time was, we will do everything KCSE demands plus more. So we'll take that as our minimum. Bare minimum. Make sure you're covering that. And then go out into the world and just put in as much as you want. Similarly, with the IGCSE, it has a clear course content that is going to be examined. So you could prepare your child to sit that exam. Means that you look at that syllabus and say, have we covered all of this? Are there things that IGCSE requires that we have not covered that needs to be covered? And therefore then prepare your child adequately for that. And then get your child to do the exam. So in our case, we chose to go the IGCSE route. And we did at that point, and that was 1 year or 1.5 years to their exiting high school. So all this time we're able to teach them a wide scope of study, very wide scope. But in the last year and a half, we then shifted.
Focused on what will be required.
What will be required by IGCSE? How much of that have we covered? Even if we didn't use the IGCSE math book, we may have used a different one, but maths is maths. So you're looking at the topics and saying, have we covered all of these topics? And then, of course, the child is then beginning to do trial papers to see, are they competent? Have they understood these things well? And so we had time to do that. A subject like our both our kids actually wanted to do the ICT exam, and we hadn't been studying ICT. They studied it by going with dad to work and helping him fix computers at home.
That's how they developed the interest.
That's how they developed the interest, but they had not studied like the theory of it. But the 1.5 years was enough to study the theory of it according to the IGCSE curriculum and sit the exam. So we did the exam preparation and then sat that exam as private candidates. In Kenya, then and now, we have 2 examining bodies, the Cambridge examining body and the EdExcel examining body. Both of them give IGCSE exams. And so we choose which one we want to sit the exam with. Both of them have recognition that students could be learning at home or in small schools that are not exam centers. And so they give provision for you to register as a private candidate and sit the very same exam a child in any private school is sitting.
Able to sit for.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. So that worked well for us. Yeah.
And was that the kind of transition you did for every stage of learning? So that like from class 8 to class 7 to class 8, maybe from 1 to from 2. How are those transitions, and how did you mark that this child has maybe grasped what they need to grasp for this particular stage, and now they're ready to move to another stage? And did that take a whole year, like it is maybe in normal schooling?
Yeah. No, we did our assessments quite differently in the in-between. This was the first formal assessment that we sat for at the end of high school. So what did we do before? We would have continuous assessment at the end of every topic. We would give an assessment. Now, the assessment can be written. It can be oral. It could be like, when we're doing the history, it could be like write an essay. So I gave different forms of assessment. The goal of the assessment being not to catch the students that you have failed, but more to see, has my teaching been effective? Have they understood what I have taught? And if not, then let's review it. Let's do it again till I see that you have understood. I mean, of course, there is the role of the child to play in the sense that they're understanding, but they're also retaining it. And you're also seeing, has retention happened?
True.
And if it hasn't, then learning has not happened. Yeah, and there's no use going back to the next topic, moving on to the next topic, if the previous topic has not been well understood. And so, you teach to a point of understanding and mastery, and we move on. And even as we move on to the next topic, we still include the content that we had learned earlier. So it's kind of spiral and mastery. You master it, but you never leave it behind. You keep building on it, and we keep referring back to it so that you never lose that retention. So we did the cumulative assessment, the continuous assessment, and then we also did summative. I didn't do summative all the time, especially in the early years. We didn't do summative assessment. We just continued with...
Summative is now like the whole of primary or something.
Yes, exactly. Like end of term or end of year. Because I was doing a lot of continuous assessment, and it was spiral building onto each other. We didn't do that kind of end of standard 3 exam, end of standard 4 exam. Some people do that, and nothing wrong with that. It's just that we didn't choose to do that. We just kind of did a lot of continuous assessment. It's only later in the high school years where they were now meeting those kind of end of year, end of term, end of year. A lot of it also, which was inbuilt in the curriculum. And then I'll be able to see what is their understanding like.
And how different was that for your 3 children?
Yeah, so the 3 children...
What did that mean for you as the teacher?
Yeah, I found that especially as it came towards exam, they kind of put on a different demeanor. Okay, now we are studying for the exam, And so they expected assessment. And also, you see, I think it was also a lot influenced by the tutors that we brought in, because most tutors anyway will come from a school system. And that's the way they teach. And I had no problem with that, because we do want to see now that you're getting ready for the exam. And so that was already now became an expectation that there's a test, there's an exam. And they took to it. I think what was harder was me now, Mom, you don't normally give this. So why is this? Why is this new thing? So that was more of a transition. That we're going to be doing assessments and we're going to be marking. But looking back, I would say that assessments are a good thing. And especially now, at that time, I think we were a small community. We were learning, we were growing. Now there's so much more talk and need for evidence of learning.
Is that by the government or?
By the government primarily, to see, and even now you can see there's assessment there's a lot of continuous assessment inbuilt as a requirement into the CBE. And then there is like the assessment that happens at grade 3, and then another one between junior high and senior high, and then at senior high. Exactly. So, and even in between there, the teachers are always assessing the continuous assessment, and they're recording these grades. So assessment has really become a bigger deal now than it was then. And so the guidance that we give homeschooling parents today is just keep good records of the work that you're doing every day. And that begins with having a very clear plan. So we had a plan, and we had what teachers call schemes of work. Like, this is what we're going to be studying. These are the resources that we're going to be using. And this is the goal. This is why we are studying this. So having that written down really helps. And then, then you're planning your lessons around those goals. And at the end of every, even daily, but definitely weekly, you're recording, this is what we have planned to do this week, and this is what we have achieved. Sometimes daily, especially in the younger years, can be too much. I mean, you can have general record, but in terms of very specific record, some things you won't, you're teaching a child how to read. It's going to take a week,
quite some time,
for them to learn maybe 2 or 3 sounds. So even as on Monday, this is what we learned. Tuesday, you're still going back and saying, we are reviewing sound A. Wednesday, you're reviewing sound A and putting in sound O. So I would say it's a lot more comfortable in the younger years to have a record at the end of every week, a proper record. But every day you're writing some notes to say, this is what we set out to do. This is what we accomplished. This was the difficulty I faced. So that as you come into the new day, you're aware. But definitely at the end of the week, you can look back and say, this is what I wanted to do this week. And this is what I did. And, so kind of keeping a portfolio is what I would say of the work done. Because it's not just what we are reading and writing in the classroom. It's all the various interactions. The child was washing dishes. That's a lot of learning. The child was outside playing football. That's a lot of learning. The child went and visited Shosho. That's a lot of learning. So also expanding learning to beyond what happens in the classroom. And so saying that the government requires records, that's good. But we are also saying, let's expand what we mean by assessment. And in terms of, because we are talking about the growth of the child. And so as homeschoolers, having a portfolio that includes all the various interactions. Some of it is by way of pictures, just putting in pictures of this is what the child did today. And if you ever need to give a defense to anybody that has learning been happening, here's the portfolio. Here's what Isaac has worked on this whole week.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but then now, of course, as we get into the higher grades, there's a lot more the kind of stipulated grading that the school is going to understand. How are you performing in maths? What topics have you covered? How did you score in those topics? That becomes very important because you're looking at giving a defense of the learning, not only to a government, but to the next institute of learning that you're going to be going into. What is this child going to show them? That this is what I did in my high school years or in my school life. So having grades that can be understood, I call it speaking the language of the people outside. What language are they speaking? And what I am doing, can it translate to their language? And one of the bodies that the government has set up that really is very helpful is the Kenya National Qualifications Authority, where we are able to take our grades and say, this is what my child has accomplished. Can you translate this into
a grade or something?
Into a grade that Nairobi University will understand or Kenyatta University, because the university will not have time to go through all the different things and say, oh, that's equal to an A or that's equal to a C. But if you allow me, I can give an example of what we did for our last daughter, our third born, who did not do the IGCSE, but continued in this very kind of rich learning over different subjects, infused, or embedded and taught in a biblical perspective, but, very high levels of literature. She studied literature, she studied history. She did a lot of music and dance outside of school. But we also put that in her portfolio. And at the end of that, at the end of all her studies, some of her courses she did online with a school abroad. Some of the courses she did at home with me teaching her. And some she did like with a dance school. And I asked the dance school, can you give me grades, for every year of her work? Exactly. And they gave me that. And I added that. So I created a transcript. And just to mention our organization, Veritas Education Africa, that's one of the services that we provide. Helping parents figure out what are the goals for my child? How does this translate into a course of study? And how do I make records of the work that we are doing? And eventually, how do we develop this into a transcript that can be handed over to the authorities?
And the higher education.
Exactly.
Pursue.
Yes. So we did a transcript for her. Now, she had desired to go and study at a university, a private university, a leadership university in Rwanda. And so we did this transcript and we took it to the Rwandan government, sent it to the Rwandan government. Now, the equivalent of the Kenya National Qualification Authority in Rwanda looked at this study, this transcript, and translated it to their local grades. And now with those local grades, the university looks and says, we can admit these students, though they're already happy to admit her even with the transcript.
Oh, wow.
So you see, that's why the record keeping is so important, and also understanding what language will they understand out there. How can I fashion this work that we have done, package it in a way that it will be understood by the institutions that we are going to face after this. Or sometimes it's a homeschooling family that, the child has reached grade 5, and for whatever reasons, you decide we want to take this child to regular school. What are you showing them? And that's why the portfolio becomes very important. You're showing them, this is Susan, this is the work that we've been doing for the last 3, 4, 5 years, and we would like her to come to your institution. And therefore, that really helps the institution feel at ease, because they can see. We're not just picking a child just because the mother said that I've been teaching her. Every mother will say, I've been teaching the child. How can we prove it?
They can prove that they have actually been learning.
Exactly. And I'm confident enough that should you test her in any of this, she will be fine. Because I tested her. I used all the international standards, national and international. I know she is well qualified to get into this level.
Amazing. Wonderful. That's I think that's something that I was very curious about, and how you move from one level to another. Or just to mention, how long does it normally take to move from one step to another? Say like from 1 to form 2.
It takes half the time. It takes half the time because we don't have all the different other things that the school has. So, and when I say half the time, this is what I mean. If I'm to take the course content of Form 1, just the course content, as I can cover it in half the time. Now, you could decide, and it depends on the learner, of course, not every learner, but I'm talking about the average learner. If they don't have some learning challenges, if we are doing a regular school day, you will find that if we are working from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock every day, by the time we started in January, by the time we're getting to June, July, it's very easy to have covered the syllabus without, it's not like you're stressing the child, just in a regular work day. And homeschoolers do, so why didn't we not finish then at age 12? If that's the case.
That's my imagination right now.
Then we should have been done by age 12 and, move on. But then that's when you get time to do other things. So some children, like ours, immersed herself into understanding dance. Our son loved football, so he had a lot of time for football. Our firstborn daughter just loves to talk and visit and be with people. And we spent a lot of time, talking and visiting and being with people in that extra time. and just accompanying me also in the different things. Remember, she's the one we began with going to Bible study with her and saying this is part of school. But, she's ended up being a very, very social person.
Wow. Yes.
And able to hold conversations with people across all age levels, and really being a very good people person, so to speak.
Wow.
So people use that time differently. You can go into other areas of study that are not covered within the syllabus. You can use it to pursue the children's personal interests, which are beyond perhaps even the scope of the curriculum you're using. Or you could use it to just move faster and finish faster. I did read of a family in the US who just used a very simple curriculum that was also a curriculum being used in the school system, but their children finished in half the time. And so, because their system had allowances for that, by the time their child is 14, they're already pursuing their bachelor's degree. By the time they are 16, 17, they're finished their bachelor's, they're doing their master's. And she had, like, her children at 19, 20 already doing their doctorate.
Wow.
And, and she said, these are not geniuses. They just studied every day what needed to be done. We never stopped. We just continued. And before we knew it, I'm looking and wondering, hey, we are 13, we are 14, we have finished high school work. What do we do? So,
but that begs the other question, just before we continue. Are there, I don't know, maybe you know better as a teacher.
Yeah.
Are there things that are tailor-made for a certain age group? So that, like in high school, maybe a child who is 6, whatever they learn in Form 1 might not be suitable for them, or it's not tailor-made for them.
I get what you mean.
That...
Yeah. Well, I know there's definitely the maturity aspect. And the maturity plays a big part, especially in your relationships with your peers. When you are, say, 10 years old, and now you've gone into a class with 15 years old, and you're the only 10 years old, and here is 25 other kids who are 15, that can be a challenge, because these are adolescents, and you're a child. So even not so much the content, but the socio-emotional environment. Because I feel content-wise, any child can learn. I mean, of course, your brain is developing and your understanding is growing, and you are being able to form relationships between information a lot better. The more you grow, the more you interact with information from different sources, and also even listen to other people. But it is possible. I can give a physics textbook. We don't teach physics till Form 1. It's possible you can give a physics textbook to a grade 6 child, and they understand it if they have a good foundation of reading, of learning, of comprehension. So the bigger aspects are the socio-emotional. But homeschoolers hardly ever have to contend with that, because you're not in a class as a 10-year-old with 30 other 16-year-olds. Your classroom is your siblings. And you think of yourself with your siblings. You engage in everything together.
Yes, true.
Isn't it? You visit as families. Obviously, yes, you will find, if you have a younger sibling who's 5 years old, she'll quickly find other kids about her age, and they'll go out and play. And maybe, if you are a 20-year-old brother, you're probably sitting with, other fellow people around that same age, and you're talking things about football and things that the 6-year-old may not understand or appreciate. But if you look at it, what a 20-year-old is doing and what a 15-year-old is doing, they can easily learn together. And what I found that to be true in our own homeschool, where we did a lot of multi-age teaching. There are some subjects like the English and the mathematics, they learned separately, everybody at their level, because someone's learning how to read, another one is already doing comprehension, and writing essays. So I won't put them together. She will have her time to learn how to read. This one already knows how to read. She's going to go and write an essay. But when we are reading a story, like we are reading, say, let me think of a story we really enjoyed. We really enjoyed The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. We enjoyed that.
Wow.
All of us are there reading it. Now, all of them will understand to different depths.
Yes, depending
even
on their foundation.
Depending on their foundation, depending on their level. Even the 6-year-old is going to appreciate that story, not as deeply as the difference between our 6-year-old and her sister is 8 years. So when she's 6, she's 14. So her appreciation will not be as deep as a 14-year-old. But they can still both appreciate that story. It's a beautiful classic.
Yes.
It spans across time. And when we have family discussions, then it's easy to make references to characters that we have both met. It's like watching a movie together.
Yeah, true.
You've met the same characters, and so we can talk about it, right? But now with the 14-year-old, we can analyze that a lot deeper.
Yeah.
And we can do simulations of this situation that Edmund had to face. And he took the candy that the White Witch gave him. And we can talk about, was it right or wrong to do that? And what situations have you faced where you needed to do that? And maybe she thinks it was right for him to do it. Okay, give a defense. Why do you think it was right? Wow. Whereas for the little baby, you're just saying, no, you should not do what your mother or your father told you not to do. And that is enough lesson for her. Wow. So there's that aspect of multi-age teaching, which I think as we work with the children, you get better and better at it. But yes, the socio-emotional aspects
plays a big part.
Plays a big part, but in the homeschool scenario and context,
it's different.
You may find that because we are just dealing with content,
yes.
Then even if in a school setting, this content was meant for a 14-year-old, a 6-year-old can digest that information and really understand what has been put out for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Or maybe an 8-year-old. I mean, really, we're not here to try and prove that even my 6-year-old can do that. It's just saying we're not going to limit the child. Just because that book is written for grade 3 doesn't mean that you cannot look at a grade 4 book or a grade 5 book if you have already completed what is expected of the grade 3 book. Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. The other thing, and I think you also touched a little bit about your husband taking the children to different spaces.
Yeah.
The other thing is about exposure. I don't know. I feel like the regular schooling offers kind of more exposure in terms of even personalities of teachers and interest and everything to this child, and helps them to be curious about many other things. I don't know how that plays out for homeschooling, so that you almost don't want to shape this child to your interests and to who you are. So that you're able to expose them to very diverse disciplines, so that as they grow up, they can easily develop other interests.
Yeah, and that's a really good important consideration, because these children are individuals, they're persons, and they have their unique identity. So part of it is also understanding the individuality of the child and letting that come out. But in practical ways, what is that? And while I would be the primary educator, now homeschooling is life. We are not locked in this 4x4 room.
House.
Yes, and that's where you're sitting the whole time. And if you find yourself doing that, then, you're denying your child a lot more, because there's a whole world out there to learn from and interact with. It's just that, of course, these are children, and we want to guide their growth, their interaction. And so we choose carefully, where are you going? And how are you interacting according to their maturity? Because that time will come when they'll be adults and they will make these decisions for themselves.
True.
But you want to have given them a good foundation where they are, just like any parent will tell a child, don't hang out with so-and-so. That's a child who perhaps is wayward. And you don't want your child to be wayward, and you will protect your child. But we definitely, in protecting, because sometimes one of the things I hear people concerned about is, are you not being overprotective? And I think also can lead to that, where are you not even exposing your child to a lot more. And so we take time to step out. We take time, and actually the converse ends up being true, and even looking at studies that have been done on homeschooling, because a homeschool child whose parents have understood that education is life, education is discipleship. It's not just what happens when we sit down with a pen and paper or laptop in this case, but it's beyond that. It includes that, but it is way beyond that. So that you are bringing them into the world. They are at a very basic level coming shopping with you. They know how to interact with the cashiers. They know how to talk to the people out in the shop and saying, I want to find where the Weetabix is, or where is the bread, right? When we're going to visit our relatives, they're right there. They're interacting with their grandparents, they're interacting with their uncles, with their aunties, not just playing with their cousins, but they're also interacting with these other people. When you're going to your social groups, for me, my social groups are my Bible studies. You're meeting with families, mothers and fathers, who are, some of them are coming with their kids, some are not. You're interacting at that level. And then also we have homeschool groups, which meets, for us, we met once every week. These families become your extended family. You know Baba so-and-so, Mama so-and-so. Those are like your extended family. And you're interacting with them. You're going into their homes. We visited each other in our homes. You're meeting the people who work with them. You're interacting with them. Now, when you look at the spectrum of all those people we've interacted with, we've gone to visit one of those mamas, she's gotten a baby. We are sitting, we're telling you, okay, hold the baby, and helping them to hold that baby well. When you look at that, and this is happening every week, because it is life. It is how we live our life every week, on a daily. When you look at that, you realize this child has interacted with small babies. They've interacted with their age mates through the homeschool groups and maybe their cousins and the friends they're playing with in their neighborhood. You've interacted with your aunties and your uncles. You've gone with your father and visited your clients. Yes, so you've interacted with people in offices who are all doing different types of work. You're observing them working. You've probably had to take a matatu as we are doing all of these things, moving up and down. You're not always, sometimes you're walking to those places. Sometimes you're driven to those places. Sometimes you're taking matatus with your mom and dad. You've interacted with your grandfathers also, and grandparents and other older people in society. You have gone through this whole spectrum of people on a daily, not just on the day. You have a field trip, which we do field trips every so often, but on a weekly basis, you're meeting people of different types and having really genuine relationships, not because I came here to learn. I just came here to be with you. And so I'm observing you, we are talking in a very natural setting. Studies have found that inadvertently, maybe we didn't even set out to do that. We're just carrying out life the way you carry out life. But these children are very well socially adjusted. They are able to interact with people across the age spectrum. Sometimes and oftentimes what happens in a school setting, we drew that example of a child going to school. So there, 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, you're in your classroom. When I look around me as a 10-year-old, who do I see?
Only your peers.
10-year-olds. And so I am very good at interacting with 10-year-olds, but there's no one here who's higher than me to set up higher example or lower than me whom I can teach. We're all at the same, competing for the same attention of all the 10-year-olds. And I know by design, families, of course, are not also locked up in the classroom. They're also going out and doing other things over weekends. And you'll find children who are very well adjusted, even if they were raised with their peers in that kind of school setting. I mean, you and I were. I think we're well adjusted. But just to say that homeschooling gives a much richer experience of social interaction, if done well. Now, a homeschooling parent, if you think you're going to lock up your child a whole day at home, only with you and them because that's all there is, then you are denying them a whole world out there. Let them walk alongside you. When we read Deuteronomy, 6, when the law is being given to Moses, and he's told, these words that I'm teaching you, teach them to your children as you walk along the road, as you sit down, as you lie down. In other words, at all times, which actually gives a very strong defense also for homeschooling. Because if I'm to do this with my child the whole time, but they're not here, when am I going to do it?
Yes.
So homeschooling affords us that time to do that.
True.
But it's also not just saying as you sit at home, but as you walk in the way, as you sit. So it's every time, every day in all of life. Wow. And the more we remove those barriers of this is school, this is life, this is home, the richer the experience for the child. Because then we are not locked into the 8 to 1 o'clock is the only time we are learning. It's all of life, and allows also for interruptions. When a new baby is born in the home, that's the learning we are all doing. We are all learning about this new baby and welcoming her into the home, and sleep patterns, and helping mommy take care of the baby, helping her warm the food for the baby.
Wow.
And we include the children in that. We don't say, no, your work is to sit over there. You can only... There's a level of discipline, but at the same time, we are not servants to the law. The law is there to guide us. The guidelines that we have laid for the school, they're there to guide us. And we don't serve them, they serve us. So that will allow for us to welcome life into our home.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think that answers the question of socialization, which is a big... It's always the biggest scare with most people as they think around homeschooling and how to go about it. I think that really answers that.
Yeah.
The other thing is about competence. For you are a teacher. You're a trained teacher, and that is not for all homeschoolers.
Yeah.
Some are just engineers or whatever profession that they are.
Yeah.
But they have chosen the route of homeschooling. And how does that influence how the child turns out? And also when you think about the character of the parent, so that a friend of mine, after watching the first episode, was telling me that she knows of a couple that is, in her opinion, she doesn't think the mother is has very good character, and she sees that in the children. So what is the influence, and how does that play out? The competence of the parent in teaching the children, and also the character and the manners of the parent. And how do you help parents in that? Yeah.
And I know sometimes we talk of homeschooling as if it's this panacea. You homeschool and everything's perfect. And we actually don't mean it that way. Because it's as much as hard work as any other career path. The engineer, the doctor, the school teacher. A lot of discipline is required. A lot of attention to what are you doing? Why are you doing it in this way, not in that other way? The issues of punctuality, those are important still. The issues of, treat people well, talk well of others. Those are important. And it is true, if I am not of good character, actually it's, it will rub off on my children, whether I'm homeschooling them or not. I shouldn't think that now because I'm homeschooling them, my bad character will not rub off on my children. No, it will rub off on them. The same way it will rub off on them, even if I take them to a school, and even a really good school, children very easily reflect their parents. So that's very important. And we ask homeschooling parents to be very intentional, very aware that you're taking this as seriously as you would anything else. Sometimes, of course, it's easier to take things more seriously when there's a supervisor above you to whom you're taking grades, who is coming to look at you and see, are you doing this in the right way? And if you're not self-disciplined, then the results, unfortunately, are going to show in the children. One of the biggest principles is the principle of self-government. If you cannot govern yourself, you cannot govern your children, you cannot govern your family. neither can you govern even at work or even in the nation. You have to be to have learned how to govern yourself, to allow, to even expect the children to govern themselves. If I'm not well disciplined, you'll see it in my children. You don't need to know me. You will see it in my children. They also will not be well disciplined. So that's important. And I think that cuts across everything of life. And I think parents, even just as a parent, whether as a homeschool parent or not, realizing that our character shows in our children. And I think that's part of the vulnerability that I say makes you feel uncomfortable. Because, if kids speak out things about me, then that means that it's showing. It's showing, and they're seeing it. Things are negative. Of course, I'm happy when they pick out positive things. But, it's clear. But again, what am I going to do about that? If they've pointed out that, there's this aspect about you, you get upset so quickly, you get angry so quickly. And I'll probably go into self-defense. No, it's because of this, you are not listening. But if I think about it, maybe that is true, actually. I do get annoyed very quickly, and I need to address that. So I think that is very crucial for a parent, whether homeschooling or not. But going into the issue of competence as a teacher, how are you going to effectively teach your child and you are not trained as a teacher? I wish I had checked up the statistic before this, but if we look at homeschool research, it does show that a lot of successful homeschool parents were not teachers. Now, what does that say about the teaching career, of which I'm one of? Does that mean that what we are doing is useless? No, certainly not, because not everybody gets to homeschool their children. Many people will take their child to school, and they do need that professional approach to education. But having said that, why? How is that statistic true? How is it that a parent who is not well trained as a teacher can end up being successful? And I see this even just again coming from the very fact that parents have been given these children and commanded, train them up. And where is the manual? You're telling me train up this child. Where is the manual for training up this child? Now, some are Christians and they know their manual is the Word of God. Some may not be Christians and are not reading the Word of God, but God's law is also written in our hearts. And that's why for every child, the parent is the one who's teaching them how to talk. Did they go to school to learn how to teach their child how to talk?
It's natural.
It's not, I have not seen a school for parents saying, come and enroll here if you're going to be a parent, so that your child learns how to talk. Otherwise, they'll never talk. And not only just how to talk, but every child, you just meet a baby somewhere and you say, Sasa, and even the child who is refusing to respond, you hear the parent telling them, no, put out your hand, respond. Or say hello. Say hello to Uncle Isaac. Naturally. Because parents have been given those children and told, train up this child. And they've also been equipped with the fundamentals of training the child to know what is right and wrong, and to know what is good and bad, to know what is true and false. Of course, to know a lot of those things, even as we talk of true and false. The Word of God tells us that which is true and that which is false, that which is beautiful, that which is not beautiful, that which is good, that which is bad. Then I'll give you another example. When you think of the university professors, somebody is really good in architecture or really good in, so they've done their first degree, perhaps they've done their second degree, and they're called into the university and told, come and teach. Where did they learn how to teach? They're just masters in what they do, and they do it very well. And they're being told, pass on this information to somebody else. And so if I have mastered, even up to primary level, let's just talk of primary level. I have mastered mathematics in primary level. I can pass that on to my child. The other thing, the things that I have not mastered, I am still a living being. I can learn and I can learn it and pass it on. For example, history was horrible history for me. I hated history. I found it very boring, very dry, But, you know, when I began homeschooling, actually, I never liked history, and so I didn't even study it very much in high school. I dropped it off very quickly. But when I began studying world history and learning history in context, as I'm teaching my children, for a long time, I tell you, I was just like a chapter or two ahead of them. But I have learned it. I have learned that content. I have understood it, and I'm teaching it. And, you know, at that time, my children are what? 5, 6 years old, 7 years old.
Wow.
So they don't need to know all this. I have learned a lot more. And now, step by step, break it down into small pieces for them. And that, many homeschooling parents will tell you, has been their journey. We learn as much as our kids are learning. Sometimes we even wonder, you know, who's learning more here? Because we are coming across information that we never learned before. And now we are learning it. And it is exciting and we like it. Or we can make it exciting. And then we pass it on to our children. But also, there is also a technique in terms of, you know, some of the things I was saying. How do you plan your lesson? How do you record the work that you're doing in a way that can be interpreted by others? And there are also ways, and how do you develop a philosophy of education that really resonates with who you are as a family? When you look at your 2 children, your 3 children, or however many children God has given you, and you're thinking, I want to teach these children. How do you decide what is important for them to learn? You know, that kind of introspection, discussion in the family, discussion with others. And that's one of the things that we also support parents to do. Just that kind of thinking process to lay out the goals of our education for our children. It's almost bringing out what is already within you as a parent. It's that conversation that helps bring it out because God has put it there, whether you know it or not. And then now laying it out, but also looking at our context. What is the government of Kenya or whatever country we are in calling a child who is educated? And as I said, it's easy to take that as this is the minimum. But what more do we need to learn? And of course, you're taking what the government is giving in as far as you'll agree with that. And I'll tell you why I'm saying that. Because there are countries today, and thankfully not our country, where teachers in their training are being required, for example, to teach young children that, you know, you can decide your sex. You can decide whether you're a boy or a girl. Now, that is a government requirement. Are we going to obey that? Now, that's for the parent to decide. Is that what I want my child to learn? And that goes to your own philosophy of education, your understanding of who is this child that you have in your hands, what kind of person do you want them to grow up to be? And for us, we know that sex is biological. You're male or female. And that's what we teach to our children. So there is that. What you want as a family, what the government is requiring in as far as it abides with what you want as a family and what is right for the child, and putting that all together and then seeing how do we spread this out to be a course of study for our children. There are packaged curriculums that they are available, but even the process of choosing what curriculum, sometimes people appreciate that help to know how to mold that for their children.
Wonderful. Wow. I see we have covered quite much, but there's still much remaining because I wanted us to get now into how do you determine what curriculum to take your child to, and what actually forms a good curriculum, and also now thinking about Christian education, because I think you are part of you're in the process of developing a curriculum. How does that look like, and what really is Christian education? Yes, I think for the sake of time, we can end at that, and then look for another time.
That's
and
fine.
Get to get into the nitty-gritties of developing a curriculum and deciding what actually is the best curriculum for a child.
Sure. Thank you. Yes, that's a whole different discussion,
I think so.
and we can pick that up the next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I really appreciate, and thank you, our dear listeners. I hope you're continuing to pick something and learning different things around homeschooling. And if you are looking forward to maybe do homeschooling, I hope you are encouraged or maybe challenged in one way or another around the education of your child. So check out for the next episode. We hope it will be coming soon. Thank you.